President Biden talked about this being the model of how EU and U.S. united could tackle and fight against China. Do you believe this will be the model?
Well, first of all, indeed, it's a good news that we are finally grounding this Airbus-Boeing dispute, which was with us for some 16, 17 years. And we agreed now on a cooperative framework, how we are going to cooperate in the area of large civil aircraft, and among other things, how we will be addressing challenges posed by non-market economies. So indeed, it shows that the EU and US is willing to work together, not only to resolve our bilateral disputes, but also thinking about global level playing field and international fair and rules-based trading system.
Commissioner, you're basically saying that this is a recognition that COMAC is coming and that China is pushing COMAC very hard, and that may not be a market-based phenomenon. That's what you're basically saying, isn't it? Is this a prelude to the US and the EU jointly launching a grievance at the WTO against China for the development of aircraft at COMAC?
What is important in the area of large civil aircraft is to ensure a level playing field. We had been having this dispute between us for many years, and so finally we are settling this one. But still, we need also the level playing field globally. So what we are agreeing to do today is to work towards this, and to the extent possible, ensure that there is a level playing field globally. And this is not the only initiative we are launching today. We today also announced a launch of Trade and Technology Council, where EU and US will cooperate in the area of new and emerging technologies, on digital economy, on international standard setting, just to give some examples.
Well, but so is that a yes or a no to China, that this is a united front against China?
Well, once again, if you look at our statement on our cooperative approach, we are not naming specific countries or specific companies, but we want to achieve a global level playing field, and we want to work together to potentially tackle challenges posed by non-market economies.
Non-market economies, you keep saying it. You are talking about China, and you won't talk, but you won't say the word China. And I'm fascinated as to why, Commissioner. Is this because Europe is not united in its attitude towards China? That different countries have different positions. Germany, for instance, has a very different, and some would argue more mercantile approach to China. China is very important to its economy. Therefore, you find yourself in a position where you can talk about non-market economies, but you can't talk about China.
Definitely in EU, we can talk about China, and actually we have been issuing entire policy papers devoted to our relations with China, which we acknowledge are very complex. In some areas we are cooperation partners, in some areas we are economic competitors, in still others we are systemic rivals. So we definitely need this to navigate this complexity, and EU is very much willing to discuss it and cooperate also with US specifically on China. That's not an issue here. What I'm referring here is a specific language of the joint statement and the understanding on the cooperative approach which we agreed today between EU and US.
How far apart or close is the EU and the US on how aggressive to be when tackling the issues surrounding China?
We definitely agree that we need to cooperate. And once again, it's not only about China, it's about ensuring a global level playing field. Is it in the area of large civil aircraft, but it's also in other areas. For example, we also agreed today that we need to cooperate on the reform of the World Trade Organization, and equip the international trading rules better to challenges posed by industrial subsidies and transparency thereof, by the competitive neutrality of state-owned enterprises, by forced technology transfers and other elements. And as you can recognize, once again, many of those elements stem from the socio-economic model of China.
Is it also a recognition as well, the language that you've chosen, that you need China to cooperate? The Commission and the European Union has pushed very strongly over the last year its sustainability agenda. There is a huge pivot taking place in Europe right now. And globally, we need everybody to be on that same page. Bringing China along, making sure that China is part of that narrative, does that mean that you don't push so hard in other areas because you need China on the sustainability front?
Yeah, when I was outlining this broader EU policy strategy vis-à-vis China, indeed, I was outlining that there are a number of areas where we are cooperation partners. And indeed, fight against climate change is a prime example. China is the largest emitter in the world, so it's important that we cooperate with China if we want to take global warming, so to say, in check. And that's obviously an area where we are cooperating and where we are, by the way, welcoming that also China is making a commitment towards carbon neutrality or climate neutrality. In the EU, we have this commitment by 2050. China is setting it by 2060. But nevertheless, it's clear that we will need to cooperate in this area because climate change is a global challenge.
Mm-hmm. What is the next area of cooperation that you think we're going to see out of the EU and the US when it comes to dealing with economic unfairness of other countries, China or otherwise?
I think today's EU-US summit already indicates a number of work directions. So the next practical step is now setting up the Trade and Technology Council. So how we cooperate on new and emerging technologies, including on international standard setting. The reform of the World Trade Organization and adjustment of the global rules regulating international trade is another example. So if you look at the outcome of today's EU-US summit, you already see some agreed areas of cooperation. So now we should be getting down to this and start practically working on this.
How much trust is there, Commissioner, in Brussels, in other European capitals, that what is happening with the Biden administration is going to be sustainable, that this relationship is on a more solid foundation than it was during the previous administration? Is there a high degree of trust? The president talks about America being back. Do you believe him?
Well, absolutely. And first of all, I would like to emphasize that EU and US are strategic partners, and we are like-minded partners. We have shared values of human rights and democracy, and our strategic partnership goes back many decades. So from that point of view, we rather see this positive momentum as we are now engaging with Biden administration as things getting back to normal. And we need to cooperate with the US in many areas, and we need to advance further our strategic partnership.